and every other Wednesday following. Right here on WSTX 970 from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eat local, eat fresh.
Ready? Oh yeah, yes I am.
Fresh from the farm radio program 11 o'clock in the a.m. each and every other Wednesday on WSTX 970. It's the Fresh from the Farm radio program brought to you by the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Agriculture. Yes, Department of Agriculture, the root of culture. Fresh from the farm radio program. I want to say good afternoon to the entire U.S. Virgin Islands. I want to say good afternoon to all those who tune into this radio program. Call a friend and tell a friend. The Virgin Islands Department of Agriculture is on WSTX 970 AM. You know, like how it's each and every other Wednesday. Sometimes we miss it. But call a friend and tell a friend. We're here. Kamish. Good afternoon, Kamish. Good morning. Good morning, Kamish. Of Agriculture, Dr. Louis C. Peterson Jr. Good morning. I want to say good morning to all the employees. Yes, of the Department of Agriculture on St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. All the directors, all the workers who are making it happen for our farming community. Bless and love all my brethren. Amen. Straight. I want to say good morning to all the farmers. Call a farmer and tell a farmer. The Department of Agriculture is on the air right now. Fresh from the farm radio program. Call a friend and tell a friend. Virgin Islands Department of Agriculture Fresh from the Farm radio program is on air right now. The number to call to get in contact with us is 340-773-0390. 773-0390 or 773-0490. We'll put you in contact. And yes, fresh from the farm radio program. We have a special guest who's facing the place. We know her, you know her, the farming community know her. Yes, Miss Vanessa Forbes, live and in living color. Good morning.
Good morning, Billy. Good morning. How are you?
I am fine. I could not have been better to see the smiling face in the place. Miss Vanessa Forbes, right now, she's the OSHA consultant for safety and health, OSHA consultation, safety and health consultant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm chopping up your title. I am so sorry.
That is fine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Fresh from the Farm radio program. It is so good to have you in front. I think we interviewed you one time before.
Yes, we did. We spoke about different farming practices and composting. This was a while ago, though.
Mm-hmm. It was, and you remembered vividly. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's when you know someone has that burning desire to, or passion for what they do.
Yes, I do.
And I know you do. So we want to welcome you to the Fresh from the Farm radio program. And yes, this program is brought to you by the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Agriculture. I'm Billy Abraham, the assistant commissioner, and we love bringing to the community information. We separate the fact from the fiction. We're here, and if you would like to get in contact with us on today again, yes, we send number 340-773 0390 or 773-0490. And on today, unfortunately, we will not be hearing from Misbehaving Maxine. Misbehaving Maxine, even Misbehaving Maxine has to get some sort of vacation too. So we miss her. We miss Misbehaving Maxine. But before we go into the commissioner corner, and yes, we're going to attribute them, but they or allot the majority of the right of the time to Miss Forbes. Um, there is something on my mind as I was driving coming here to the studio for today's show, and I thought that I would just declare it, declare the areas in which I know that I am free to discuss. And that is, I just left a meeting um, with the commissioner and our executive assistant. And before I go down that road, sometimes I segue just to bring the point all the way around. But positions like governor, lieutenant governor, senators, commissioners, directors, um, even the service repairman, even the janitor, these are offices. But I'm speaking more to leadership right now in terms of the commissioner. It's the office of the commissioner or the office of the governor. Okay, so it takes a human body to go into the office, but the office comes with a set of duties that the flesh is going to execute. So what I'm alluding here to is that having the opportunity to sit within this capacity as the assistant commissioner, where I am the direct help and assistant to or representative of the office of the commissioner, I see where our commissioner, Dr. Louis E. Peterson Jr., is someone who puts his heart, you know, into the operation of the office. And being up close and personal, I see the hours and the time that he put in, even away from family, 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. If I was a woman, I'd have probably done divorce this man already. 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning when you should, what I mean? Come on. And what I'm thinking about is it's sometimes people say that, oh, the commissioner, he's soft and he's too kind-hearted. But I'm driving here and I'm thinking, here you have an individual who chooses peace over war, who chooses to resolve issues and to resolve situation, coming to the table and making agreements. And I just want to say, and I just want to declare, publicly, the following words. And for those who don't hear me, and for those who hear me, tell those who don't hear me. Nobody don't come to me and tell me them kind of words again about our commissioner Islam. You want to know why I'm making this declaration? If this is how you feel in your mind and this is how you feel in your head, I want you to know when you before me or in my presence, that is where it's going to remain in your head. And I'm not going to make anyone feel comfortable that you can say those words to me. I have great respect for the office and I have great respect for the man who operate the office. Great respect, and I am grateful for the fact that all the community know that I was separated from the department, and he didn't have to bring me back, but I was brought back to the department under his leadership, and I greatly appreciate it. but more so I see the work, that he put in, and I appreciate it. So within such realms of such appreciation, I'm not going to make anyone feel comfortable to come to me and say that the commissioner staff, you're going to keep that in your head. And with that being said, I'm moving on to the people's business, in which um, that I am so happy to perform the drought.
Mm.
This drought situation,
Mhm.
and that is what partial of this meeting was about. And I saw how heavy the commissioner his heart was. You see this, you see, he put in a heart. And what touched me in today's meeting, although we're seeking external, sources in terms of financials to bring in feed and to bring in hay. At the end of the conversation, the commissioner said that we're going to look inward, as well as we're seeking outward. But the little bit that we have, we're going to see what we can do internally to bring relief, because this for our farmers in St. Croix and for the farmers in St. Thomas, all who is involved in livestock, and not only livestock but crop production.
Mhm.
It's dread. The earth is dry, and I think that we have gone through this type of situation long enough not to take into consideration that water harvesting is the answer to mitigate these types of circumstances, with strategic planning to harvest the water during the rainy seasons, because at the time that we have the rain is falling, I mean, we see rivers form, okay, we see ponds form,
Mhm.
the place is green. Well, let's conserve some of this water and not just wasting it, well, not the kind of waste, but dumping it into the sea. Let's try to preserve some of it, and that is the answer. So, um, without apology, that is the direction, and that is the type of thinking that, or frame of mind that we must be in. Harvest the water during the seasons it when the rain is falling. So at this time, let's go to the phone line where we have our Commissioner of Agriculture, Dr. Lewis E. Peterson Jr. on the line. Let's check. Commish, are you on the line with us? Are you there?
Mr. Abraham, I am present and accounted for.
Hippala. Commish is on the line in the Commissioner's Corner, and following the Commissioner's Corner, we're going to go straight into with the Commissioner, introducing, our guest, reintroducing our guest, and dancing around on the dance floor, the subject matter at hand, which Commish do so eloquently. Commish, welcome to your show, the Fresh from the Farm radio program. Yes, go ahead. Commish, I didn't ask you. Commish, how you feeling?
Yes.
How you feeling, Commish? How you
How am
feeling?
I feeling?
Yeah, how you feeling, Commish?
I am feeling fresh. I'm feeling inspired. I'm
Oh,
feeling honored
you see?
at this time.
Yes, sir.
I really am.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
also feeling humbled,
Yeah,
Mr.
man.
Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
Mr.
Yeah, man.
Abraham,
Yes, Commish, I
not
can hear
just
you
to
loud and
speak
clear.
to you, but I know we have our very special guest, Ms. Vanessa Forbes, in the studio.
Yes, she's right
Ms.
there.
Forbes, good morning to you as well.
Good morning,
Thank you
Dr.
for being here
Peterson.
with us today.
You're
And good morning to all of our farmers and those listening to us right now.
Yes.
So a couple of things are on my mind for the Commissioner's Corner, Mr. Abraham. The first of which is I was in a meeting just a few minutes ago, but I tuned in just in time to hear you making a few comments, which you did not have to make, which I didn't ask you to make, but I appreciate whatever you said and how you felt. And at the end of the day, just like anybody else, I'm going to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
And as a part of being myself, Mr. Abraham, I just want to be very clear, very open-hearted to anyone and everyone listening.
Mm-hmm.
You should know this by now, and should so Ms. Forbes, after working so many years with her at UVI in the School of Agriculture. Here at the department where I'm at right now, or even when I was with the School of Agriculture, I had and I have no ulterior motives except to promote, to do my best to elevate, to promote and advance the industry of agriculture, including our farmers. No other agenda, none. And in that respect, I bring the best of my professional life to this work, and at the same time, I bring the best of my own humanity to the office. That's what it's said, and that's what it's done. And Mr. Abraham, without being lengthy about it, I just want to express that. No other agenda, not one.
I know that, man. I know that. Mm-hmm.
And so today, couple of things. One, we are celebrating National Farmers Market Week, as well as we are celebrating National Health Center Week. And we want to say that we are proud to bring these awarenesses to the community because for me, in growing up, I listened every year to observations of National Education Week and then the Department of Education doing what they have to do, National Police Week, etc., etc. But I never used anything from the Department of Health. So many years ago, we began this tradition of selecting certain national observances that we feel the public should be aware of and pay attention to.
Yes.
And this is one of them.
Yes.
And Mr. Abraham, I want to say thank you so much to the marketing division, specifically our director, Ms. Chantel Douglas Francis, and to Ms. Maxine Richards, whom you call misbehaving. Because when I walked in the door 2 years ago, I said to them, I want us to celebrate and observe these specific items on the calendar every year, the agricultural calendar. I did not have to say another word. I never had to revisit the issue or the topic of the conversation. They took it to heart and they have executed every single year as I've asked them to without having to do it 90. So I'm saying a very big thank you to them, but also to the entire team, because it is not just the division of marketing, they calling everyone else within the department to support. So thank you, a big thank you to the big team that we have here, or the small but mighty team we have here at the Department of Agriculture. Okay? And so last week, Saturday, of course, we celebrated on St. John with the Merrick Health Center. Today we continue to celebrate at the Lorraine Farmers Market here in St. Croix from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're saying thank you as well to the Department of Health through their WIC division, their WIC program, and to the Frederickston Health Center for their partnership in making this happen. So today, we're encouraging the public who's always talking and advocating for farmers and agriculture to come out and put your money where your mouth is, as we like to say. Spend some money, support, promote, encourage our farmers. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Not only would you find fresh produce, but you will have health screenings. And I mean free health screenings. We all need to do a better job at taking good care of our health. And let's begin today, if we haven't already, or continue today at the Lorraine Farmers Market, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I was looking for the flyer, but no, it's not here. But anyway, today at the Farmers Market, you're going to find the screening and fresh produce for you to enjoy and benefit from, as well as information on agriculture. We're going to have the department there with information that you can benefit from with respect to agriculture. And we will have, I just want to find Mr. Abraham, we'll also have seedling distribution, free biometric health screening, like we said, and information about not just agriculture, but natural resource conservation. So please, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Lorraine Farmers Market, come out and support. I don't just support today, continue to support our farmers and our farmers markets. And Mr. Abraham and his folks who are there, I want us to really think more broadly and deeply about farmers markets. Yes, they are definitely a place where you can come out and buy local produce, but think about a couple other things about what farmers markets do for us. If we're speaking about a resilient community, a farmers market plays an ideal role in that. Because when we spend our money at a farmers market and we directly pay that farmer, the money stays in our community a little bit longer. They circulate a little bit longer. And that's how we build a resilient community, dollar by dollar, incrementally, as opposed to products coming from elsewhere and those money is going outside. So think about what we're doing with when we go to the farmers market. We're helping to build community resiliency. We're also helping economically because we're encouraging our farmers. If our farmers produce and we don't purchase, that is not an encouragement, it's a discouragement to them. So the more we purchase from them, the more they're encouraged and the more they produce. Mr. Abraham. So those are all other reasons why we should think about supporting our farmers markets. And then in preparing for Farmers Market Week, I began to do a little bit of reading and I learned so much. There is something called the American Health Fitness Index. Yeah, Fitness Index, that's what they call it. And I never heard it before. But what it does was to track and monitor a couple of metrics that determines what cities, what communities have a better or higher health fitness index. And one of those things that they track is the number of farmers markets in a community. And it tends to show, the data tends to show that the communities with more farmers markets, in other words, more fresh produce, have a better or higher fitness index. The same thing goes for the studies they did on biomass index. Those are all correlated. So again, we're talking resiliency, we're talking encouragement, we're talking economic development, but we're also speaking about the health and well-being of the community when it comes to farmers markets. And when we speak about health and well-being, at the core of this is our farmers. If our farmers aren't doing well, health-wise, safety-wise, then they cannot do what they do. And that is why we are so pleased to have Ms. Forbes here with us.
Yes.
Ms. Forbes and I go back a very long way working within the School of Agriculture, and both of us have had a long conversation and actually professional history when it comes to being concerned about farmers' health and well-being. So what she is going to bring to us today is lots of great information I'm looking forward to hearing. Great information relative to what farmers should do, shouldn't do, be mindful of, and especially now as we're speaking about this drought situation, Mr. Abraham.
Yes.
So I want to welcome Ms. Forbes, but something just came to mind which I forgot to say in response to something you said earlier, Mr. Abraham.
Yes, Coach.
So just before you start, Ms. Forbes, we want farmers to be aware that we are mindful within the agency about their concerns for drought, and we're making steps. But Mr. Abraham, I don't want to say something before it happens, but there's one thing I could say.
Yes.
In making attempts
to
get seed
and
to get seed for farmers, there's something we've come across. Our feed supply and our seed supply is generally out of Puerto Rico. But guess what? All the content that we made, that we usually make in Puerto Rico, they are having the same hardships as we are having. And so it's going to be very hard-pressed for us to use our usual sources to get here from Puerto Rico. So that is something that I can say because that's real, and that's something that has come to our attention as we try our attempts to get resources for farmers here. But as we continue these efforts, we will keep sharing. But I want to go back to Ms. Forbes and say thank you, Ms. Forbes, for being with us today. And we look forward to your sharing with us when it comes to health, well-being, and safety of our farmers. Thank you, Ms. Forbes. And Mr. Abraham, thank you as well.
And welcome, Vanessa Forbes, OSHA Consultation, Safety and Health Consultant. Put some respect on that. Welcome again to the Fresh from the Farm radio program.
Good morning again, Mr. Abraham. And thank you, Commissioner Peterson. Thank you for having me here. Yes, I am here today in a different aspect or in a different role than I was the last time. And being here today, I want to help our community to understand heat-related illnesses.
So before we go into the heat-related illnesses, because you are what they call a popular, valuable diamond piece within the farming community, the farming. Yes, it's true, industry, because you are a person too. I know you put your hat. I've seen you with your hat out there in the sun. Doing them. I've seen you out there. Noted. Okay. Yeah. So. I mean, I've seen you out there, so I know that your heart is into the job. So, and most of us know you to have been with the the UVI School of Agriculture.
Mhm.
Now you are still with the university,
Correct.
right?
Mhm.
And to help those of us help me
Mhm.
as well as those who like me, okay, and the community who just coming to know you, and
Mhm.
those who do know you and know you within that capacity
Mhm.
as well. Um, Safety in Paradise.
Mhm.
Is Safety in Paradise the name of the organization?
So
Or
Safety in Paradise is under the umbrella of Caribbean Green Technologies, which is a part of the university, and we are under the School of Science and Math
Caribbean Green
Technology
Technology?
Center. Mhm.
What is that all about?
So we actually do quite a bit of research within that department.
What type of research? Anyone?
We are currently doing research on how the what is it the sargassum is how it's affecting us and how it's killing off some of the organisms in the ocean. But we're also looking at our seagrass beds and how they affect our coastlines and our sand movement that is being done by Dr. Gregory Gwynell and one of our student researchers. We also do, uh, he also does research on a plethora of things. That would be something I would have to come back with you on because I'll be here talking for the whole time.
Okay, that's
about him.
that's the Caribbean
Caribbean Green
Technology
Center. Mhm.
part of it, and that is affiliated directly with the university,
Yes, and we're under the School of Science and Math.
and you're under the School of Science and Math, and it's also, I guess, AKA Safety Paradise.
Yes, we are the Safety in Paradise. We are OSHA, and we are the OSHA consultation branch of OSHA Private in the Virgin Islands.
So tell us a little bit about that side.
So for OSHA Private, we basically consultation. People can call us in, and they can get us to do a free consultation with them for if they are following the OSHA mandated standard for employees in order to so that the employee, if they come to work full and whole, they return home full and whole with everything they came there, all their fingers, all their parts, and everything. So we want to make sure that if a job has anything that they are not sure of is a hazard, they can call us. Myself and Mr. Andres Smith out of St. Thomas. We are both consultants. He and I do both Island and St. John. And if there is a concern about a hazard, or if you are not aware that there's a hazard, because lots of people have things around their job sites that they are not aware of can cause a hazard until a hazard happens.
So, two things. Are there repercussions up to the? What if there's repercussions to the person who called you, which would be considered
a whistleblower? Okay, so yes, whistleblowers are persons who call on their job that something is on their employer that something is wrong. We are not enforcement. So if you call us, we are not the ones who are going to levy fines or levy jail time on you. We are there as consultation to help you not get those fines or those jail times if you don't abide by the ruling and abate your situation. So as a consultant, what I do is I come out, I walk your property, and I look and find hazards that could cause issues to an employee or to yourself. And once we find them, we point them out, we document them, and once you have noted that they are there, you have to abate them within a timely manner. Okay, and we tend to work with the employer once the employer communicates with us. So if they find, say we find that there's a fixture that can cause electrical shocks or that can cause electrocution, we point that out. The employer has a certain amount of time to abate it. We understand that being in the Virgin Islands, things are not always as readily available as they are on the mainland. So once the employer communicates with us, then we say, okay, you write us a letter, we send it back saying how much more time you have, and then you have that more time to abate your issue.
So Well, with relations to the subject matter at hand, which you are here for, with all of that experience, behind you in a different field, we're now on the health and well-being of our farmers.
Yes.
So before you go into your farmer presentation there, when you say the well-being of farmers, with a little bit more specificity, operationally define what you're talking about.
So farmers are, as Dr. Peterson so aptly pointed out, the backbone of our food security within the Virgin Islands. And a lot of farmers go out and they work from morning till night. They work in dry weather, they work in hot weather, they work in wet weather, and a lot of them fail to, well, I should say us, because I am also a farmer. And a lot of us, sometimes we don't realize we are putting our health at risk by some of the tasks that we do. And one of the tasks that we can do that can adversely affect us is working for long hours in the heat without being mindful that it is affecting us adversely. And so my reason for being here today is to point out some of the situations that we can go through and that can cause us harm. Okay, so if you let me.
Yes, please indulge us.
So heat-related illnesses are affects us when our body doesn't cool down properly, and it's not cooling down right because we're not realizing that we are hot. And so, as a farmer personally, I can tell you that a lot of times I'm out on the farm and I have my hat on and I have my long sleeve on. And I have seen some of my farmer friends who have been on the farm and they don't have a hat on and they don't have long sleeves on. And they're outside working in the hottest portions of the day, which is normally from, like right now in August, from 10 to 2. And that heat can really hurt. But being in the Caribbean, we have what we know as a sea breeze. And that sea breeze cools our bodies and we are thinking, oh, we are okay. But that can actually be quite the opposite, because what our body is developed to do is to sweat and to perspire. And sometimes we're wearing clothes that is clinging to our bodies. And when that happens, it takes the perspiration and keeps it to our bodies. And by doing so, it can actually cause us to get what's known as a heat rash. And I know back in the day when my grandmother had my baby brother taken care of and he had a heat rash, he would have tiny little bumps on his body. That is basically the same thing, which is why back in the day they used to powder the baby looking like they're flouring a fish. So that actually helps us as well as adults to put, back in the day they used to use talcum powder. Talc has actually been found to cause some adverse effects now. So we don't tend to recommend talc anymore, but you can use cornstarch powder or you can use cassava starch powder on your skin, which will help to dry that rash up and help to keep you cool in the event of you needing that for a heat rash. So what happens when you get a heat rash is it comes when your sweat ducts traps your sweat on your skin, and then it keeps you that high humidity to your body. And it happens when we're outside and we're moving about and we don't realize it happens, but then you go inside and you're itchy. So that cornstarch powder or the cassava starch powder helps to dry that out, okay? So another one that we have to be aware of is heat fatigue. Sometimes we're working outside in the heat and we feel that we have a tiny pull in the back of our head, like a small headache, but we're like, oh, just walk through it. Don't. Especially if you feel nauseous with it, or you're losing concentration, or your body feels like your muscles are getting weak. These are signs that you need to pay attention to. Those are some of the early warning signs. You need to go and take a seat in the shade. Okay, a lot of us, we push through these things. We're like, oh, it's just nothing that we need to be cognizant of. But our body has the way of telling us there's something wrong and we need to pay attention. Okay, so we have another one that is called heat syncope. Okay, this is where we're feeling dizzy and we feel that we're losing awareness. Okay, that is again where we need to stop and get to a cool place, drink water, and stay hydrated. A lot of us, we drink in the Caribbean, we love to drink coconut water. But something I wanted to bring to people's attentions today, coconut water is an amazing thing to drink with moderation. Okay, because especially if we have issues with our heart, coconut water has lots of potassium in it, and that can actually cause issues with people who have heart problems. Okay, so making sure you stay hydrated with regular water, and if you have the ability to put some electrolytes in that water, that is even better. Okay, you can actually use basic sea salt to put that extra bit of minerals, magnesium into your water, which will allow your cells to take up that hydration a little bit better. Don't want you to put a whole bunch of it. You only need about a pinch of that sea salt into that water. And that would help the hydration to get back into your cells. Okay.
Interesting.
So another one that we need to recognize is heat cramps. Heat cramps is when our body loses the salts. And like I just mentioned, to put a little bit of that sea salt, when your body starts to cramp up, it's when you've lost a lot of that salt. So you sweated it out when you've been outside working. And so your muscle starts to tense and starts to cramp and starts to hurt, which means your muscles are becoming dehydrated. So that, again, you need to stop, find a shady spot and rehydrate yourself. Get a little bit of that same sea salt and put it in the water and drink. You can add a tiny bit of ice and drink slowly to rehydrate yourself again. Okay. There's actually quite a bit of things that can happen to our body once we have become dehydrated. Another one is called heat exhaustion. And again, it comes from high heat. You can start to sweat heavily, have a rapid pulse, have dizziness, possibly fainting. You can have muscle cramps, fatigue. You can feel goosebumps. You can have headaches, and you can also be nauseous. That is a lot of symptoms. If someone ignores all of these symptoms, that person is looking not to be around very long. So for heat exhaustion, again, you need to stay hydrated. You need to drink water. You need to get cool. And you need, if you're not feeling better, you need to see a doctor and see a doctor quickly. Okay. Heat stroke. I'm sure all of us know about what is called heat stroke. Okay. That is when our body temperature exceeds 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius. Okay. It can alter your mental state and behavior, again, make you nauseous and even start you vomiting. You can turn red. So when I worked with the School of Agriculture, I had one of my colleagues, I saw him literally his chest, his head, and his ears turned red. We were working, we were getting ready for a project, and we were working, and that day was extremely hot. We were in one of our greenhouses, and he and I, we were pushing through, we were trying to get the stuff done, and I looked over, and he was, from his whole chest to his head was red. That instant, I took him outside, we sat under a tree, got him some water, took a cool rag and wrapped it around his neck in order to bring his temperature down. If we had not done that, he would have gone through a heat stroke. Okay. And so that is something that you always want to be aware of when you're with someone else in the field. And that's one of the reasons we always say, do a buddy system. Don't be out in the field by yourself, because if something happens to you, who's going to be out there to help you? Okay. So making sure that you are working with someone so that they can be aware of you and you can be aware of them is very important. Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So the next one that we're going to talk about will be the With the heat stroke, you can also have slurred speech. Okay, so if you're working with somebody with the buddy system again, and that person starts to not make any sense, be aware. Okay, so you want for that with the heat stroke, you want to make sure that you cool that person's body down. If that person is going into heat stroke, you want to cool them down. You want to take them into a cool place, like under a tree. You want to take off their exterior piece of clothing if they're having on something like heavy, like a coverall, or if they have on a heavy outer protective piece, like a heavy shirt. You want to take that off or open it up. Then you want to, if you can, get ice water and put it on them. The faster you can cool them down, the better, because if their head stays too hot, it can cause brain damage, and you don't want that. So we actually recommend, the CDC actually recommends submerging them in cold water, because that brings their temperature down rapidly and it stops them from getting brain damage. So normally they will tell you to, if you can, get a tub of water and put them in it. But if you can't, if you can get ice water, put ice water on their trunk, which means their main portion of their body where their heart is, under their armpits. And if you can wrap a wet, cold towel around their neck and around their face, that will help to bring down their temperature. Take off their shoes, take off their socks. That will help to allow their body to start to breathe and to bring their temperature down. There's a lot that can happen, but there's a lot that if we act quickly, it can help and save that person's life. Okay? You have any questions? I know I'm saying a lot of information.
I will give you that opportunity to go ahead. But hydration seems to be the main theme in which, as it relates to all of these.
Hydration and going to someplace cool. And one of my things that I try to get people to realize is, as farmers, we tend to try to remove all trees off of our properties because we want to have as much growing space as possible. However, having those trees on the property also saves you from having to try and find someplace cool to go, because if you take the temperature of under a tree versus outside from under that tree, it is normally about 30 degrees hotter outside in the sun on that bare soil. Okay.
So how could the following, if it can be a consideration, that farmers take notice of the hottest times during the day,
like I said,
and avoid those.
That is definitely something that they should do. Yes. So back in the day, if you remember, back in the days when my grandfather was a farmer, he always went to his farm anywhere from 4:30 in the morning and would work from 4:30 in the morning once he had enough light until probably about 10. And then once the hottest portion of the day, he would do things in the shade, or he would come home, he would relax, and then at the end of the day, he would go back to his farm 4 until 7 o'clock, and then he would come home. So that way he was not exposing himself to those hot sun rays and causing himself to get sick.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Wow. Well, it's with regards to farmers who you work with, or do you have any knowledge of any farmers that have been so adversely impacted that it resulted in their person going to the emergency room?
Yes, that same individual that I mentioned earlier, he was also a farmer, and sad to say, he actually, because he would work so much in the heat, and he never liked to take breaks. He was an amazing dynamic worker. He didn't like to take breaks. He eventually suffered a stroke. Okay, and praise God, he did not die because someone was able to catch him in time. But that was something that happened after being hot and having heat stress and other situations happen over and over and over and over. And so he adversely suffered after a long time.
How common, from your experience, working with farmers who have reported the symptoms, obviously, that you pointed out here, but with regards to heat rash in particular? How common is it?
Oh, it is very common because a lot of people, they are outside in the heat, and it is, like I said, our sea breeze fools us. So our bodies feel cool because the breeze is blowing the sweat off of us, but we are still not perspiring, so our pores get clogged. So we have a tendency, again, to keep working and keeping the shirts on. Sometimes people wear polyester, which is not a breathing fabric, and that holds the perspiration to their skin, and they get the heat rash. Sometimes they get it on their back. They don't know what's happening to them. They just feel itchy and they're scratching and they're wondering what's going on. If you have someone look at your back, you'll normally see a whole bunch of red raised bumps, and that is a heat rash. Okay, and again, you can treat that you can add cortisone to help cool the itch down. Mm-hmm. And you can also use the cornstarch or the cassava starch to help soothe your skin as well. Mm-hmm.
And remind us of the best type of clothing to circumvent or avoid getting heat rash.
You want to use light colored clothing, so anything like white, beige, or yellow. And you want to also make sure that that piece of clothing is either cotton, or some people swear by those breathable new reflective shirts, but you want to make sure that it is a couple sizes bigger than you to allow for it to not stick to you too closely. Okay, and that way also allowing for the breeze to pass through when you're outside.
The headaches that you spoke about, could this possibly lead to a heat stroke?
It depends on how your body is acting. So if you are feeling a headache and there are the other signs, so if you are outside and you feel that you're getting a headache, it means it's one of the first signs of you being dehydrated. Okay, so it means for you to stop and go and get some water.
Many of the individuals who's engaged in farming in our community, mm-hmm. they're seniors. Mm-hmm. And many of them live alone.
That's true.
With regards to the symptoms that you point out, or the types of related illnesses, mm-hmm. that you can get as a result, you mentioned the heat rash, the small heat, headache, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. The which we're talking about, you said the heat.
The fatigue?
Yes, the mm-hmm. heat fatigue, mm-hmm. the muscle cramps, the heat stroke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
there's a lot.
There's a lot. Mm-hmm. Of these, right? For the ones that like the headache, at what point would our seniors, in that they're by themselves, should consider maybe calling an ambulance before
that's a question.
It gets worse.
That's a loaded question, because with seniors there could be a bunch of different things that could be happening. So I tend to tell people to monitor themselves. I know we always say we know ourselves, and sometimes we push ourselves too far, and our seniors tend to do that. So not only do you want to make sure that you are staying hydrated, if you feel that you have a headache, call someone and let them know that you have a headache. Especially if you feel like your pressure, like your heart, you're having heart palpitations, or you feel like you're muscle fatigue, call someone. Not necessarily calling the ambulance, because you don't want to call the ambulance unnecessarily, but you want to call someone who can come over and check on you. If you feel like you have a headache and you need to lay down, don't just go and lay down and not let somebody know that you're going to lay down. Call someone, tell your neighbor, hey, my head is hurting me. I feel like I've been outside working a little too much. Check on me in about an hour, in about 45 minutes, or even a half an hour, because just to make sure that everything is still going right with me. And then once they check on you, let them check on you again. Okay, because again, as seniors, different things can happen in their bodies, and they do not want to wait too long or too late. okay? Because action saves brain cells, okay?
We discuss um, illnesses
Mhm.
as it relates to heat having an adverse impact on our health, causing those illnesses.
Mhm.
And what about the well-being of our farmers? Let's say during the rainy season, when there's excess a lot of rain,
Okay.
is there any illnesses or any setbacks or anything impacting our farmers in a way that is congruent or as dire as when it's the heat times?
So there are a few things that we tend to point out. This is a little bit outside of my OSHA job description, but as a farmer, this is what I look for. And I look for the mosquitoes and the biting flies and insects when we have a lot of excess rain. And so I tend to tell my other farmers and some of my farmer friends who are elderly to make sure that they either save their water in a container that has a lid or cover anything that has water in it so that it's not breeding grounds for the biting flies, or we call them mampies, or the noceums, or the mosquitoes. Because dengue, chikungunya, Zika, malaria, all of those are real, very serious illnesses within our community. We faced it before several years ago. It is not gone. It is still real whenever we have lots of water sitting around. And the Aedes aegypti, which is a mosquito that can actually breathe in as much as a water bottle cover full of water. That's all the water it needs in order to breed and propagate young mosquitoes to keep its generations going. So going around your property as a farmer and making sure you either pour out the water into a plant or pour it into a container that has a lid and covering it is wonderful for us to do. Another thing you can do in order to keep the mosquito population down is to use mosquito baits. It's something that you can drop into a container of water and kill their larvae, and that helps to keep their numbers down as well.
Wow. So, well, it's certainly you encourage me
It's a
to
good thing.
look at the well-being of our farmers because we demand them to grow, but at the end of the day, that's a human being
Yes,
behind the efforts
Yes, they are.
of growing that crop that we so need. And if they don't have, if their health and well-being is not in check.
So all of that I mentioned just now falls under what is known as hyperthermia. So a lot of people heard hypothermia, which is when you're in excessive cold and you can lose your different portions of your body in hypothermia. Hyperthermia is the other one with the heat, excessive heat. So all of those things fall under that. And so as you just mentioned with us and having water and catching it before it goes off into the ocean, one of the things we definitely need to start realizing is that being on an island, we need to realize and have a cognitive continued awareness that our trees are very, very important. Our large trees are very important because without our large trees, Billy, we don't have water infiltration. And water infiltration is extremely important to us being on an island because we take water from our aquifers every day. We have a lot of people who have wells, and being on an island, our water in our aquifers are not infinite. It runs out. And once it runs out, we're going to start bringing in salt water. And if that salt water gets into the space where the fresh water is, it is extremely, extremely, extremely difficult to get it back out and fill it back up with our fresh water. So keeping large trees happy, healthy, and around the island is an important thing to us keeping our agriculture healthy and happy for us to be healthy and happy for the foreseeable future. So making sure that we do not remove all of our large trees is extremely important. We need to grow food, but growing food without water is impossible, right? And so making sure that we do not continuously remove our large trees and planting back trees which will become large trees, not just a grafted small mango tree, but we need that tree canopy because that helps to draw the rain, the precipitation to our area. Okay.
I want to, because time is short upon us, right? Something just came to my mind, and I think it's in the mind of other farmers and listeners who are hearing this program as well. And that is what assistance or resources that can be available to assist farmers who may have been impacted with one of these illnesses as a result of being in the sun.
Department of Health would be the best place to reach out to. Dr. Peterson may have the contact information for that department, but that would be one of the best places to reach out to. I know that they have amazing individuals there who are very knowledgeable and who would be able to direct our seniors as to what to do.
Okay, and I would imagine our farmers as well, our senior farmers.
Yes.
Which is so
going down to the Lorraine Center today would actually be a good thing because they will be able to contact the people from the Department of Health and get some information as well.
So within the small time that we have left, all right, I want you to review some of the prevention tips to avoid these types of illnesses. To make us, so that we can be aware.
So you want to make sure that you are covered. Make sure you have a nice size hat on. You want to also, something that I didn't mention, but we have the Sahara dust too, really, and people are out there and they're breathing. So wearing a mask, a dust mask, especially when we're being notified that it's high Sahara dust. So if you're going to be outside and you feel like you're going to be exposed, wearing a dust mask will help to filter that Sahara dust from getting into your lungs. Wearing big or baggy clothing that is light colored will also help your body stay covered from the sun. Some people wear sunblock because we're melanated. Doesn't mean that we don't need sunblock. What we need is a mineral-based sunblock. That actually helps to those of us who are melanated, are people of color, to not have as much effect from the sun. There are many different kinds out there. Looking that up is very easy. Just Google it. And also stay hydrated with water and put a little bit of sea salt, just a pinch, into your water. That would help to pull the hydration into your muscles and will reduce the effects of muscle cramp and muscle spasming.
Those are very good tips indeed. No doubt, hydration, wearing long clothes, definitely. But I just gotta ask you, because with relations to the Sahara dust and the recommendation to wear a mask, how can wearing a mask impact or contribute to a farmer being ill or not being ill? Because it's hot. So
you definitely don't want to do this. You don't want to be outside again in the hot portions of the day. But if you are outside in the early morning and the early evening and you feel that there is Sahara dust, because when we have Sahara dust, we know it's there. You see it on your car, you feel it on your skin. Then you wear the mask.
So you would recommend you wear the mask during the
cool portions of the day. Exactly.
Just try to avoid double trouble.
Yes, exactly.
It's definitely,
because having that mask on in the hot portions of the day, you're going to be suffocating yourself. You want to be in the cool portions of the day, then you can put the mask on. Yes.
Forbes. Vanessa Forbes. Your name sounds rich. Your name sounds.
I am rich in blessings. Praise be to God.
Well, the word rich is in there. So that is all that matters. Vanessa Forbes, OSHA consultation, safety and health consultant. When you're saying your title, You have to say it with patience and with grace, just like the person that you are. Miss Vanessa Forbes, bringing to our farmers and to our community, helping us to be aware of illnesses that can be prevalent in times like now. During this drought season, it's hot. So the prevention tips, your clothing. First of all, just know that after a certain hour, I think after 10 o'clock probably,
After about 10, 11 o'clock.
after about 11
Yeah.
o'clock, it's hot. It's not hot. It's we are to be out there engaged in farming, gardening, and so forth. If you just got to be out there, even when you're out there in the morning or in the evening, you still would recommend wearing the long sleeve.
The long
Wearing the
sleeves.
long sleeve
Something that's
to
big
protect
and bag.
loose, loose on your skin, more cotton, you, polyester. You want to cute. I mean, I know you feel. Hydrate and hydrate. Very important. So there we have it. There we have it. We heard from our illustrious commissioner, Dr. Lewis Peterson, in the commissioner's corner, and we had our gracious, well famous name, girl from University School of Agriculture, as them know her as, with long title. OSHA, no long title now. OSHA Consultation, Safety, and Health Consultant. Put some respect on having the patience to say your name. Vanessa Forbes, I want to thank you for your time, for being on our program. This is another informative episode of the Fresh from the Farm Radio program. I am Abraham, Billy Abraham, the Assistant Commissioner for the Department of Agriculture. And until not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday, have a good day. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. Here's Vanessa Forbes.